Welcome to the first of 2 books of Claire Bellingham's story. Please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell, not to miss the second part of the story. Thank you to the regulars, and welcome to the new Veilbound Souls. Here you will find something for everyone, and if you have not, hit me up on the comment section and ask me to write a story just for you. Check out my other stories as well. Now buckle up, and let's dive into the story.
Fragments of Desire, the Claire Bellingham Chronicles. Imagine waking up to find your entire digital life, your emails, your social media, your very identity, gone. Stolen. It's a terrifying reality for far too many people, and it was my reality. Then finding a hacker with the perfect manicured nails, hair, and makeup to help me recover my life, but also steal my heart in the process. This video isn't just a story. It's a raw, emotional journey into what it really takes to fight back and reclaim what's mine. Book 1. Digital Shadows. Chapter 1. Digital Death. The soft hum of her laptop fan sounded loud against the faint noise of the city bleeding through an apartment window. A digital heartbeat. Claire's point of view. Morning light filters through the blinds like a half-remembered dream. Coffee cools beside my keyboard, the same way it does every morning. Routine. Reliable. My inbox should be flooded by now, client mails, project updates, a handful of junk I keep meaning to unsubscribe from. I refresh once. Then again. Nothing. The bar at the top flashes red. Invalid credentials. That's odd. I type the password again, slower this time, like reverence might help. Another red flash. The third attempt locks me out. My throat goes dry. I switch to social media. Same message. To my banking app. Same. The cursor blinks at me, a tiny, merciless pulse. Every account gone. Every trace of me erased. Maybe the system's down, I whisper, though the words tremble like a lie. I try recovery links, passwords, old security questions. Nothing sticks. I'm shut out of my own life. My reflection in the dark screen looks foreign, as if someone's replaced me overnight with a ghost wearing my face. My phone vibrates. Unknown number. The text reads, "Nice try, Claire." The mug slips from my hand and shatters. Coffee bleeds across the floor like spilled ink. Panic tightens in my chest, the kind that tastes like metal. I open my backup drive. Empty. Files, 0. My career. My photos. My words. My life. Gone. I sink to the floor, clutching the edge of my desk as if I could hold on to what's left of me. The apartment hums around me, indifferent. In that moment, it isn't just data that's vanished. It's proof I ever existed. Chapter 2. Searching for Answers. Claire's point of view. The rain was tapping against glass, mixing with the rhythmic clatter of my frantic typing. I've been sitting here for hours. The sun's crawled across the wall, slipped away, and I didn't even notice. My screen stares back, blink, smug, unhelpful. I've tried everything. Password resets, recovery codes, help desks that loop like bad dreams. Every click feels heavier, slower. My own devices don't recognize me. Who the hell are you then? I whisper to the reflection in my laptop screen. My voice cracks. I laugh, a dry, bitter sound that echoes too loud in the apartment. I call customer service. I get sympathy, scripted apologies, hold music that sounds like someone trying to smile through a panic attack. They can't find my accounts. They say there's no record of me ever being a client. The words slide down my spine like ice water, no record. I grab my phone, the only thing that still seems mine, and scroll through contacts. Gone. Every number, every message thread, wiped clean. The text from earlier, "Nice try, Claire," is the only one that remains. I stare at it until the letters blur. Whoever did this isn't just erasing me. They're watching. In the distant thunder rumbled, a car alarm somewhere below blaring through the silent night. I start Googling identity theft, cybercrime hotlines, recovery software. Forums filled with stories like mine, people crying into the digital void, begging for help. No happy endings. Somewhere in the chaos of links, one catches my eye. If the system eats you alive, we know who can feed it back. No author, no timestamp. Just a dead thread with one reply. Find the crows. They'll know who to call. The crows? A hacker collective? A myth? My chest tightens again, but this time there's something beneath the fear, a flicker of defiance. I copy the phrase into a private note, lock my screen, and whisper into the dark. I'm not disappearing that easy. Chapter 3. Hints of a Life Elsewhere. Claire's point of view. I hadn't left the apartment in 2 days. The rain had become a metronome for my thoughts, steady, relentless, drowning out everything else. My world had shrunk to the glow of the screen and the thrum of paranoia under my skin. I typed the crows into every engine, every encrypted board I could find. Most links led nowhere. A few led to warnings. Do not contact them unless you're ready to owe them. Owe them what? My soul? My spine? I kept digging anyway. Finally, I found it, buried 3 firewalls deep, the digital equivalent of a whispered invitation. Crow's Nest. Password protected. Of course. I tried every combination I could think of until frustration blurred into tears. Then, the screen flickered and a message appeared, as if someone had been watching me try. Crow_01, you knock too loud, Bellingham. My heart stopped. Me, who are you? Crow_01, that's the wrong question. Me, then what's the right one? Crow_01, do you want your life back, or just revenge? The room suddenly felt smaller, my pulse too loud. Me, I want my life back. Crow_01, then we'll send the name. Wait, don't thank us. The chat blinked out before I could reply. I stared at the blank screen until another message appeared, this time in my email inbox, the one I hadn't been able to access since everything vanished. No subject. No sender. Just a single line of text. Fine nightshade. No links, no instructions. Just that. I leaned back, rubbing at my temples. The air felt electric, as though the apartment itself was holding its breath. Nightshade. The name rolled off my tongue like smoke. Beautiful, dangerous, forbidden. I should have felt relief. I'd found a lead. Instead, I felt the faint tug of something else. Curiosity. Attraction. A name that shouldn't sound like a secret lover's whisper. Outside, thunder cracked again. The lights flickered. And my laptop, dead for hours, suddenly blinked to life on its own. Across the dark screen, words appeared, one slow line at a time. Hello, Claire. Slowly my heartbeat synced with keystrokes, then a faint electronic purr as the screen fades to black again. Chapter 4. The First Tip. Claire's point of view. The screen stayed black for a full minute after that single line. I sat frozen, half expecting the voice of God, half expecting my laptop to catch fire. Then another message appeared, neat and deliberate. Nightshade, you shouldn't have called the crows. I swallowed hard. Me, you erased my life. Nightshade, if I had, you wouldn't be typing right now. I stared at the words until they burned behind my eyelids. My pulse thudded in my throat. Me, then who did? Nightshade, that's the puzzle. You're the missing piece. And, just like that, the window closed. No goodbye, no signature. The low electronic chirp of my laptop, the only sound while the rain resumes with a hiss. For a moment I just sat there, the glow of the monitor painting my face pale and unreal. Was she watching me through the camera? Could she see the trembling in my hands? My phone buzzed. Unknown number again. A single text, check your trash folder. Inside was a deleted email chain, restored somehow. At the top, my own message from 3 weeks ago. Sent to a company I'd never heard of. Attached, my ID, banking info, signature. I'd never written it. The bottom of the thread ended with one sentence. Transfer complete. Terminate access. My stomach twisted. Someone had sold me. And yet, my mind drifted back to the precision of those replies. To her. Whoever Nightshade was, she hadn't destroyed me, she'd saved a breadcrumb. A whisper of something dangerously close to gratitude brushed against my fear. I opened a new window, fingers hovering over the keys. Me, why help me? No answer. I waited, breath shallow. Then a final flicker. Nightshade, because you're interesting. Don't make me regret it. The screen went dark again. I leaned back, pulse pounding, an involuntary smile tugging at the corner of my mouth. Maybe it was madness, maybe something else, but for the first time since this nightmare began, I felt seen. The soft hum of the city outside combined with the faint electronic pulse that could almost be a heartbeat. Chapter 5. Digging the Shadows. Claire's point of view. My refrigerator's hum and the steady ticking of a wall clock was a constant melody trying to compete with the distant thunder. I tried drowning it with the faint staccato of my typing. Sleep is a luxury I no longer recognize. Every time I close my eyes, I see that line flashing on the screen. You're interesting. Don't make me regret it. I can still feel the static of her words, a warning dressed like a compliment. It's 3:17 a.m. The world outside is asleep, but my mind refuses to follow. I've spent hours retracing her digital fingerprints, the syntax of her messages, the encryption patterns, the little quirks of code. Like perfume lingering after someone's gone, they all smell of precision and danger. Every lead loops back to dead ends, encrypted servers, and usernames that vanish seconds after I find them. And yet, every path hums with her. Nightshade isn't just a hacker. She's art. Her code flows like handwriting, sharp, elegant, intentional. I try to tell myself this is just professional curiosity. But when I see the name Ravenstorm tucked in a corrupted metadata file, my heart stutters. Ravenstorm. Even the name feels like thunder pressed into silk. I open a hidden forum called The Grid below. It's a labyrinth of digital mercenaries, code poets, and ghosts who eat firewalls for breakfast. Buried deep inside a thread marked Lost and Found, someone's posted. Nightshade doesn't take clients. She takes interests. I reply anyway. A simple message. Me, tell her I'm still interesting. It's a reckless move. I know it. But recklessness has become my oxygen. A few minutes later, the reply pings back. Unknown. You really don't scare easy, do you, Bellingham? My breath catches. Me, that depends who's asking. Unknown. You already know. The cursor blinks once, twice then. Nightshade, let's see how far you'll dig. And, just like that, the lights in my apartment flicker. My phone buzzes. A new message. No number, no sender. Just coordinates. Somewhere in the city. The rain had returned, harder this time. I exhaled, whispering. Okay, Raven. Let's play. Chapter 6. Tiny Victories. Claire's point of view. The low growl of an engine purrs under me, the windshield wipers slicing through the rain, as muffled city sounds bleeding through. I shouldn't have gone. Every rational neuron in my brain screamed don't. But curiosity is a drug that smells like gasoline and gunpowder, and I've been inhaling it since the night she said hello. The coordinates lead me to a forgotten part of the city, warehouses slouched against the river, graffiti blooming like bruises across their walls. The kind of place where stories disappear. I park, heart drumming against my ribs. My headlights catch a shimmer of metal, a door, barely cracked open. Inside, it's dark except for the faint blue glow of old server racks humming like sleeping beasts. A laptop sits on a table, lid half closed. A note taped to the screen reads, "Curiosity kills more than cats. NS." I almost laugh, the sound tight, nervous. Then I lift the lid. The screen lights up and there it is. My name. My old digital signature restored. My files, my credentials. Not all of them, just a fragment. But enough to feel real again. It's a cruel kind of mercy, this breadcrumb. There's a small text file waiting on the desktop. I open it. Nightshade, you wanted a victory. Don't get used to it. Me, you watching me? I whisper to the empty air, knowing damn well she can't hear me, or maybe she can. The next line appears. Nightshade, always. The air leaves my lungs in one sharp exhale. I look around. The warehouse feels suddenly alive. A security camera light blinks once in the corner. I should be terrified. But instead, something electric twists through me, something dangerously close to thrill. I type back a single word. Me, good. The file closes itself. The screen goes black. Outside, the rain has stopped. The city hums again, as though it knows something has shifted, that two ghosts have found each other in the wires. I step into the street, soaked in adrenaline, holding the faintest sliver of my stolen life. A tiny victory. And somewhere out there, Ravenstorm is smiling. The slow digital heartbeat merging with the city's rhythm, then a whisper, soft and feminine, barely audible. Game on. Chapter 7, First Digital Glimpse of Nightshade. Claire hadn't slept. Her eyes were red, her pulse erratic, and her apartment felt more like a surveillance cell than a home. She'd been chasing fragments all night, half-broken links, encrypted strings, handles that vanished as soon as she clicked them. And then at 3:42 a.m. it appeared. A username. Nightshade_404. No profile picture. Just a blank field where a shadow seemed to flicker for a heartbeat, the hint of a woman's silhouette, framed in blue light, hair cascading like digital ink. Then gone. Claire blinked. Rechecked the cache. Nothing. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard, trembling. "You're seeing ghosts now," she whispered to herself. But she couldn't let go. She followed the thread deeper, found a comment left under an obscure hacker forum's old post. Information doesn't vanish. It hides in plain sight. You just have to be willing to bleed a little to find it. The phrasing was signature Nightshade, according to the whispers she'd gathered. Elegant. Lethal. Seductive. Claire scrolled down and saw another user had replied. "She doesn't work for free." Her chest tightened. The words weren't just about payment, they were about cost. The air felt heavier, colder. She could almost feel Nightshade watching her through the screen, like a predator curious about the prey foolish enough to step into her hunting ground. Claire's cursor hovered over the message box. Every rational part of her screamed don't. But the emptiness of her erased life pressed against her ribs. She typed, "I'm not looking for free. I'm looking for a fight." She hit send. Nothing. Minutes passed, then hours. She leaned back, eyes burning, half hoping it was over, that she hadn't just invited a storm into her world. But then, her phone lit up. An anonymous notification. No number. No sender. "You found me. Let's see if you can keep up." The screen flickered, a pulse, a heartbeat, and a single image flashed for less than a second before vanishing. A face. Sharp jaw. Lips painted the color of sin. Eyes like black code, endless and knowing. Claire's breath caught. Nightshade wasn't just a myth. She was real. And now she knew Claire's name. Chapter 8, Emotional Fracture. The apartment was quiet, but Claire couldn't feel it. Every shadow seemed to stretch toward her, whispering of missteps, betrayals, and things she couldn't yet see. Her laptop glowed faintly in the dark. Every notification ping sent her heart leaping, sometimes hope, sometimes dread. The last one had come hours ago, a single line and signed, encoded in a script only Nightshade could write. Curiosity without caution is a dangerous friend. Claire's fingers hovered over the keyboard. She wanted to respond, to say "I'm careful," to claim control over the chaos she'd stepped into. But she knew better. Every word could be a trap. Her mind spun. How much of herself had she already given to the shadow? The hacker had appeared only in fragments, a flicker of code, a ghost of a message, a flash of that impossible face. And yet, she felt it, the pull. That magnetic, unnerving tug that made her pulse faster and her thoughts scatter like sparks in a storm. She ran through her options. Give up. Retreat. Pretend it was just curiosity. No, she couldn't. The weight of exposure pressed in. Every trace of her searches, her attempts to follow the breadcrumbs, could be watched. Every step forward might lead her closer to answers, or straight into danger. Claire leaned back in her chair, rubbing her temples, chest tight. She thought about the fragments she'd already recovered. Small victories, yes, but fragile. She wasn't just chasing lost data anymore. She was chasing a ghost who knew her, who could slip through her fingers with a single flick of her fingers on a keyboard. And yet, she couldn't stop. Her reflection in the dark screen stared back at her. Red-rimmed eyes, pale cheeks, a mouth set in determination. Desperate determination. Somewhere, deep in the code, Nightshade was waiting. Watching. Testing. And Claire knew, with a shiver that wasn't all fear, that the hacker had become more than just a target. She was a storm. And Claire was standing directly in its path. Sound cue, soft hum of electronics, distant city rain, and a faint digital heartbeat pulsing under it all. Chapter 9: Internal Conflict. Claire paced her apartment like a caged animal. Rain streaked the windows, blurring the city into watery ghosts. Her laptop sat open, dark, but she could feel it humming, a tether to a presence that had begun to consume her thoughts. She should have stopped. She wanted to stop. Every rational part of her whispered, too dangerous, too unknown, too fast. And yet, she couldn't. Nightshade haunted her mind, the flicker of a username, a profile hidden behind code, the ghost of a message that had sent shivers straight down her spine. Every trace was a puzzle and a promise all at once. Claire rubbed her eyes. Every decision now carried weight. Every click could betray her. Every search could expose her. But in the chaos, something else stirred. A thrill, sharp and reckless, slicing through her fear. She couldn't help it. The hacker had tapped into something primal, something that drew her closer even as she resisted. She leaned against the counter, staring at her reflection in the kitchen window. "Why am I doing this?" she whispered. "Why can't I just walk away?" The answer came unbidden, a truth she wasn't ready to admit, because she wanted to see Nightshade. To understand her. To challenge her. Her fingers trembled as she picked up her phone. She almost typed a message, something careful, something calculated. But she stopped. She couldn't. Not yet. The fear, the longing, the danger, it all mingled, intoxicating, dizzying. Claire realized she was standing on the edge of something she didn't yet understand. And deep down, she knew the descent was inevitable. Because some storms weren't meant to be outrun. They were meant to be lived. In the distant thunder roars, in the silent the only sound was the soft hum of her laptop, the rhythmic tapping of rain and a heartbeat syncing with Claire's own. Chapter 10: Foreshadowed Encounter. Claire sat hunched over her laptop, eyes scanning every line of code, every encrypted thread, every digital whisper she could trace. Every ping of a notification sent her pulse racing, but none had been hers. Then it came. A single line, stark and deliberate, appearing on her darkened screen. "I see you." No username. No signature. Just those two words, pulsing on the black canvas. Claire's breath caught. Her fingers hovered, frozen. The room felt smaller, the shadows deeper. She realized, with a shock that ran through her spine, that someone had been watching her all along. "Nightshade. You're clever," another line blinked in response to her hesitation. But clever doesn't equal cautious. Not with me. Her stomach tightened. The thrill and fear interlaced like smoke in her chest. She typed, heart hammering. "Who are you?" A pause. A silence that made her pulse deafening in her ears. "You'll know soon enough." And then a flicker. A shadowed image of a figure in the corner of the screen, just for a heartbeat, gone before she could focus. A flash of hair, dark and wild, a hint of those eyes she'd only glimpsed in the encrypted fragments she had chased so desperately. Claire leaned back, trembling. She was exposed yet pulled in deeper than ever. She realized she wasn't just chasing Nightshade. She was already entangled in her web. The hacker's presence was everywhere, in the code, in the messages, in the space between clicks. And Claire knew this was only the beginning. Outside, the rain tapped against the window, soft and insistent. Inside, her heartbeat drummed against her ribs, mirroring the unspoken promise in that brief glimpse: danger, chaos, and something dangerously magnetic waiting in the wings. Chapter 11: First Contact. The air smelled faintly of ozone and coffee, a strange perfume for a place buried under fluorescent flicker and buzzing servers. Claire's hands shook as she stepped inside the building the coordinates had led her to, an unmarked tech loft somewhere in the city's industrial spine. Her eyes adjusted to the low light. Computers hummed in neat rows, cables coiling like snakes, monitors flickering lines of code in synchronized rhythm. And there, in the center, stood Nightshade Ravenstorm, as if conjured from the digital ether itself. Every instinct told Claire to run. Her brain screamed danger. And yet, she couldn't tear her gaze away. Raven's posture was calm, precise, unnervingly serene. Hair dark, flawless, nails painted a glossy black, eyes that caught every flicker of motion in the room, yet gave nothing away. "You found me," Raven said, voice smooth, almost musical. eyes glinting with amusement. I wondered how long it would take. Claire's throat went dry. You're real. Raven tilted her head, a smirk tugging at the corner of her lips. Real enough. But are you ready to be honest with yourself? Because this game you're playing, it isn't for amateurs. Claire swallowed, stepping closer despite the knot of nerves in her chest. I'm not here for games. Raven's fingers danced across a keyboard. In a blink, multiple screens flickered to life, displaying fragments of Claire's stolen digital identity, emails, financial logs, social media remnants. Tiny victories, some of her lost life, carefully curated and presented. You want answers, Raven murmured, leaning over Claire's shoulder just enough to brush against her arm. Then watch closely. Learn. Move fast. Fear is your compass here, but don't let it control you. Claire nodded, heart hammering, taking in the details. Each keystroke Raven made seemed like a performance, precise, controlled, yet undeniably seductive. Every movement screamed power, confidence, and danger. And beneath it all, the air crackled. Subtle, almost imperceptible, a pull between them that wasn't just about the hunt. Flirtation threaded through their glances, tiny teasing comments in code, short texts flashed between monitors. Raven, careful where you look. You might find yourself. Claire, I think I'm already lost. Claire felt it. The thrill of the chase had a new edge now. Not just fear. Not just hope. Something more dangerous. Curiosity and desire. Outside, the city moved on, oblivious. Inside, two worlds collided, the tangible and the digital, chaos and control, and a subtle, incendiary chemistry that neither could yet name, but both could feel. Chapter 12, Skills Collide. Claire sat cross-legged on the cold floor of the loft, laptop balanced on her knees, eyes wide as Raven moved through the room like a shadow painted in purpose. Every keystroke, every gesture was mesmerizing, precise, fluid, controlled, the digital world bending to her will. You see that? Raven's voice cut through the hum of servers, calm, almost teasing. That's how you retrieve a footprint that's been buried for years. One wrong move, and it disappears forever. Claire nodded, too stunned to speak. She had studied hacking in theory, scraped together tutorials and forums, but watching Raven in motion was a revelation, terrifying, intoxicating, and impossible to look away from. You're learning fast, Raven murmured, leaning close enough that Claire could feel the warmth of her presence. But fast isn't the same as safe. You'll make mistakes. I'll notice. I always notice. Her gaze met Claire's for the briefest moment. Something flickered in those dark eyes, amusement? Approval? Something dangerously electric. Claire's stomach fluttered. Minutes became hours. Claire traced code, decrypted fragments, followed Raven's instructions. Small victories came in bursts, a recovered email here, a financial thread there, each one a pulse of triumph and relief, yet each one tethered her tighter to the hacker's orbit. Raven moved behind her, whispering subtle corrections. Every word pressed against Claire's nerves in the most tantalizing way. Not there, closer, focus. Claire's fingers trembled as she typed, heart racing, mind spiraling between admiration, fear, and a thrill she couldn't name. This wasn't just about recovering her stolen life anymore. Every glance, every whispered instruction, every shared focus on the glowing screens made her want to reach closer, closer to Raven, the woman, not just the hacker. A notification pinged, another fragment restored. Claire exhaled, victorious, but Raven's voice was in her ear before she could savor it. See? Raven said softly. You're better than you think. Now, don't let that make you careless. Claire turned, caught Raven's smirk, and realized something that made her pulse stutter. The woman wasn't just a mentor. She was a force, brilliant, dangerous, and entirely intoxicating. And Claire, she was already caught in the gravity. Chapter 13, Small Victories. The loft smelled faintly of ozone and coffee, the hum of machines wrapping around Claire like a pulse. She stared at the screen, her email account, partially restored. One login, one small digital footprint back in her grasp. She almost laughed, a sound of disbelief, relief, and disbelief all tangled together. You're smiling, Raven said from behind her, voice soft but edged with amusement. That shouldn't surprise me. But don't get cocky, there's a long road ahead. Claire felt a jolt as Raven's fingers brushed hers lightly, guiding her cursor over a line of code. A spark, brief, electric. Her pulse leapt in ways that had nothing to do with the data. I can't believe this is actually working, Claire admitted, voice shaking slightly. I thought it was all gone. It was gone, Raven replied, lips curving, eyes sharp. But not lost. And neither are you, not yet, anyway. Another ping. Another fragment of her life restored, a saved document, an old photo file, a forgotten password. Each success felt like breathing for the first time after drowning. And yet, with every victory, the tension between them coiled tighter, subtle touches, glances that lingered too long, the faint brush of hair as Raven leaned close. Claire's hands hovered over the keyboard, trembling with adrenaline and something else she didn't yet have words for. Desire? Admiration? Fear? All three tangled in a knot she couldn't untangle. You're better than you think, Raven murmured, voice low, almost intimate, as she adjusted a setting on the screen. You just have to trust yourself, and me. Claire swallowed hard. The words, simple as they were, carried weight and something heavier she wasn't ready to name. Outside, the city rumbled, indifferent. Inside, two women sat side by side in the glow of monitors, chasing fragments of a lost life and discovering, piece by piece, the storm building between them. Chapter 14, Flirtation in Code. Claire's fingers flew across the keyboard, tracing lines of encrypted messages, decrypting fragments Raven had left as lessons. Each puzzle was a test, a trap, a challenge, and sometimes a whisper of something more. Raven, careful where you click. You might uncover more than you bargained for. Claire paused, smirk tugging at her lips. And what exactly would I uncover? She typed back, heart quickening. The reply came almost instantly. Raven, your limits. Maybe your secrets. Or maybe just how far you'll let curiosity lead you. Claire leaned back, laughing softly, a sound that made Raven's head tilt in her mind, though Claire couldn't see her reaction. The playful banter, wrapped in code, made her pulse skip. Every ping of the chat was a pulse of electricity, teasing, challenging. The hacker's brilliance dazzled her, but so did the subtle teasing, the way Raven's words danced between danger and flirtation. Every hint left in the code felt deliberate, meant to push Claire to think, to feel, to notice. Hours passed. Claire decoded, decrypted, and traced. Small victories dotted the screen, each one marked with Raven's signature touch, a tiny comment in the code, a wink in emoji form, or a teasing line. Raven, you're almost too good at this. Don't let it go to your head. Claire's pulse thrummed not just with adrenaline, but with something hotter, sharper, the thrill of proximity, even if it was only in lines of code and ephemeral messages. Every interaction was a dance, a game, and she was dangerously hooked. A notification pinged, a new fragment of her digital life restored. Claire glanced at it, then at the chat window. Claire, I don't know if I'm learning hacking or falling into your game. The reply was instant, impossibly smooth. Raven, why not both? Claire's breath caught. The line between mentor and temptation blurred with every keystroke, every encrypted joke, every challenge that pulled her deeper into Raven's orbit. And for the first time, Claire realized that this wasn't just about reclaiming her life. It was about navigating a storm that carried danger, brilliance, and desire in equal measure. Chapter 15, External Pressures. The city hummed beneath her apartment, oblivious to the storm gathering in Claire's digital world. Rain streaked the windows, casting blurry reflections across her laptop screen. She leaned closer, tracing fragments of her restored accounts, when a new alert pinged sharp, unnatural, a discordant note in the quiet hum of the machines. Unauthorized access detected. Her stomach knotted. Claire's pulse quickened. Someone was watching. Someone else. Raven's calm voice buzzed through the encrypted chat. You've got company. Claire froze. What do you mean? Someone else is moving through your digital footprint, Raven said, almost casually. Not me. Not anyone you've reached out to. A shadow. Someone. Professional. The words hit Claire like ice. She swallowed hard, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Her reclaimed fragments suddenly felt fragile, like glass in a hurricane. Raven's presence beside her, in both mind and encrypted proximity, was magnetic, grounding. "Don't panic," Raven murmured, leaning in just slightly, close enough for warmth to brush her arm. "But pay attention. Whoever did this isn't sloppy. They want leverage, control. Possibly everything." Claire's eyes flicked back to the screen. Odd logins, partial traces of AI activity, and encrypted strings she couldn't yet decipher. Each ping, each shadowed footprint whispered, "You are being hunted." "And they know we're tracing them?" Claire asked, voice trembling with a mixture of fear and excitement. "Not fully," Raven said, fingers dancing over the keys. "But they will. That's why you need to stay alert. And why you need me." The hacker's smirk, almost audible in her calm, teasing tone, made Claire's pulse jump. Danger never felt so intoxicating. Minutes stretched into hours as they scanned, traced, and fortified. Claire watched Raven work, unervingly precise, calm, brilliant. Each command, each line of code, pulled Claire deeper into her orbit. Desire and fear, tension and thrill, entwined in the glow of the screens. Raven. External pressure isn't always physical. Sometimes it's calculated. Ruthless. Subtle. You'll need to match it. Claire nodded, gripping the laptop like a lifeline, aware of the storm circling outside her door, and inside, the irresistible pull of the woman guiding her through it. Chapter 16. Hidden Traps. Claire's fingers hovered over the keyboard, sweat prickling her temples. A misstep here could erase the small victories she'd fought so hard to reclaim. Every ping, every cursor blink, felt like a heartbeat counting down to disaster. Warning, anomaly detected. Her stomach dropped. She had triggered a hidden trap in the system, something she didn't recognize, a footprint that screamed of calculated danger. Raven's voice slid through her encrypted channel, smooth, teasing, and sharp all at once. "Careful. That one was planted to test you. Or to punish careless curiosity. Which do you think it is?" Claire swallowed, heart hammering. I don't know." "Then pay attention," Raven said softly, leaning close, just enough that Claire felt the warmth brushing her shoulder. "I'll guide you. But you'll need to trust me, and yourself." Sweat prickled her palms as she followed Raven's precise instructions. Every keystroke was deliberate, every line of code a step through a digital minefield. Claire's pulse raced, exhilaration, fear, and something dangerously magnetic stirred in her chest. Minutes later, the trap was neutralized. Claire exhaled, shaky but victorious. A tiny victory, yet it carried the weight of a battlefield. "Raven, see? You survived. And you learned. That's what matters." Claire's lips curved into a tired, exhilarated smile. "You make it sound almost fun." "Almost," Raven corrected, a faint smirk in her voice. "And don't forget, danger is addictive." Claire shivered, the thrill tangling with attraction in ways she hadn't anticipated. Each near miss, each carefully guided escape, wove a silent thread between them. She realized, every time Raven pulled her back from the brink, the magnetic pull grew stronger, intoxicating, unsettling, irresistible. Notification ping, another small piece of her identity restored, hidden in the code, a breadcrumb toward the real antagonist. Claire glanced at Raven's status online, calm, teasing, flawless. And in that moment, she understood, she wasn't just fighting for her life. She was falling ever so subtly into Raven's orbit. Chapter 17. Threads of a Threat. Claire's eyes darted across lines of code, each one a possible clue, each one a thread leading somewhere dangerous. Something didn't fit. Anomalies she couldn't explain, subtle, almost invisible footprints in her restored accounts. "Raven, notice anything unusual?" Claire hesitated, fingers trembling over the keys. "Yes, these traces, they're different. Not yours." Raven's tone sharpened slightly, professional now. "Exactly. Someone else is in your digital life, moving quietly. Very deliberate. Very dangerous." The words sank like stones into her chest. The adrenaline pumping through her veins mixed with a creeping fear. Someone was watching, calculating, pulling threads that she could barely see. Claire, how? How do we stop them? Not yet, Raven said, voice low and steady. We trace first. We understand. Then we strike. Hours passed in tense silence. Claire followed Raven's directions, decoding signals, tracking encrypted footprints. Each discovery confirmed her growing fear. She wasn't just recovering lost data, she was in a cat-and-mouse game with someone brilliant, meticulous, and ruthless. And yet, with each small victory, the magnetic pull of Raven remained undeniable. Her guidance, her calm brilliance, the subtle closeness during long hours of work, every gesture, every whispered correction, drew Claire deeper into the orbit she could not escape. Finally, Claire leaned back, exhausted, staring at the screen. They're organized. Professional. They've left these threads deliberately, almost tauntingly. Raven's voice softened, just slightly, the teasing edge replaced with warmth. And that's why you need me. You wouldn't stand a chance alone, not yet. But together, we'll find them. And when we do, Claire's pulse raced, excitement, fear, and that impossible attraction. We'll stop them, she asked, barely daring to hope. Exactly, Raven said. And maybe have a little fun along the way. Chapter 18, Close Call. Claire's heart slammed against her ribs. A warning ping erupted from her laptop, sharp, urgent, impossible to ignore. Someone had breached one of her partially restored accounts. This wasn't just a trace anymore. Someone was in. Raven, hold everything. Don't touch a thing. Claire froze, fingers hovering above the keys, panic threatening to overtake her. Her pulse thundered in her ears as she watched lines of code scroll faster than comprehension, fragments of her digital life being probed, tested, potentially destroyed. Raven leaned in beside her, presence both grounding and electric. Breathe. Follow my lead. Every move counts. Her instructions were precise, deliberate, cutting through the panic. Claire's hands moved, typing, tracing, countering, but the fear had her fingers trembling. One wrong move, and everything she'd recovered could vanish. Seconds stretched into eternity. The intruder probed again, and Claire's chest tightened. She could feel the stakes physically, like a weight pressing down on her shoulders. Raven, almost, now. With a final keystroke, the attack was neutralized. The intruder blocked. Claire exhaled, body shaking, legs weak. Relief and adrenaline crashed together in a dizzying wave. You saved it, Claire breathed, looking at Raven, chest heaving. Raven's dark eyes glinted with a faint, almost imperceptible smirk. We saved it. Together. Claire's pulse didn't settle. Not from fear. Not entirely. Something in Raven's calm brilliance, her proximity, the way she had guided Claire through the chaos, it sent a jolt of something more through her veins. Desire. Something raw, dangerous, and magnetic. The digital storm had passed for now, but the danger outside was very real, and Claire's dependence on Raven, both for protection and for guidance, deepened. Every glance, every shared breath in the glow of the screens, threaded them closer together. Notification ping, another fragment recovered, small but significant, proof that Claire was not just surviving, she was fighting back. And that fight, she realized, was inseparable from the woman guiding her through it. Chapter 19, Digital Chemistry. Claire stared at the screen, sweat still cooling on her temples, heart still pounding from the close call. But beneath the fear lingered something more, a thrill she hadn't expected, a pulse that had nothing to do with danger. Raven's presence was magnetic, constant in the encrypted chat, but tonight it felt closer. Almost tangible. Raven, adrenaline suits you. You type faster when your pulse is racing. Claire smirked, fingers dancing over the keys. Maybe I just like living dangerously. Raven, careful. That's exactly how people get burned. Or caught. There it was again, that teasing edge, the soft pull of danger mingling with desire. Claire felt a flush rise to her cheeks. Each message, each subtle correction in code, every glance she imagined from Raven carried weight. They worked side by side, tracing fragments, recovering hidden files, dismantling anomalies left by the mysterious antagonist. Every small victory brought a rush of adrenaline and a jolt whenever their digital paths crossed, whether a shared cursor, a whispered instruction, or a playful comment in encrypted code. Claire, you make hacking seductive. Raven's reply came instantly, laced with amusement and something darker. Seduction is a weapon. You'll learn quickly. Or fall hard. Claire's pulse skipped. Fall hard. The words echoed in her mind, entwining with her fear, admiration, and an unacknowledged craving. There was danger in this world, but there was also Raven. Brilliant, untouchable, intoxicating. Hours passed. Outside, the city slept. Inside, the glow of monitors illuminated two women intertwined in a dance of intellect and tension. Fingers brushed over keyboards, digital traces overlapping like fingertips reaching for something more. And with every ping of recovered data, every fragmented victory, Claire realized this wasn't just about reclaiming her life. It was about navigating the storm and the woman guiding her through it. Chapter 20: Reconstructing the Past. Claire sat back, eyes glued to the screen, fingers trembling with a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. The glow of recovered files illuminated her face, emails, photos, fragments of her life she thought were gone forever. Claire, I can't believe this. It's really coming back. Raven's reply was instant, calm, teasing, but with an unmistakable warmth. You did this. I guided, you conquered. That's the difference between a survivor and a victim. Claire's pulse jumped at the praise. She'd spent hours tracing the labyrinth of her erased existence, navigating traps, puzzles, and shadows left by the unseen antagonist. Every minor victory had been a thrill. Every setback had been a lesson. But this was monumental. Her gaze lingered on a recovered photograph, herself, laughing with a friend, oblivious to the digital storm that would soon consume her. Nostalgia, relief, and an ache for the life stolen surged together. Raven, careful. Emotions make you vulnerable. But they also make you more human. More alive. Claire swallowed hard, awareness prickling down her spine. The woman guiding her, saving her digital soul, was also the one igniting something more: desire, admiration, something dangerous and impossible to ignore. Claire, I don't know how I'd do this without you. Raven, you'd survive. But together, we're unstoppable. Hours slipped by as they worked through files, reconstructing data, following threads left by the mysterious erasure. Every keystroke, every shared discovery, was a dance, one that blurred lines between mentor and temptation, between safety and longing. A ping startled Claire, a hidden folder, one she hadn't expected, a clue that might finally point to the real antagonist. Her breath caught. Raven, looks like we're getting closer. Are you ready for what comes next? Claire's fingers hovered, heart racing. Danger loomed. Desire simmered. And somewhere in the tension, she realized that reclaiming her life might mean surrendering, not to the antagonist, but to the storm she'd found in Raven. Chapter 21: The First Lie. Claire's fingers hovered above the keyboard, frozen. A pattern emerged in the data she and Raven had recovered, subtle, almost invisible, but unmistakable. Something didn't fit. Claire, Raven, this isn't yours, is it? Raven's reply was delayed. Calm. Measured. Almost teasing. What do you mean? I'm seeing traces, Claire said, frustration and fear tightening her chest. Encrypted footprints. They're different from yours. Someone else is moving through my accounts. Someone planted this. Maybe even left it for me to find. A pause. Then Raven typed, "Good eyes. You're noticing the threads. But trust me, this isn't me. Not even close." Claire leaned back, uncertainty twisting her stomach. She had trusted Raven implicitly, followed her instructions, allowed herself to be guided through danger, drawn to her brilliance. And now a shadow of doubt crept in. Claire, I don't know what to think. I mean, what if I'm being naive? Raven, you're not naive. You're careful. And smart. But you're human. You let fear cloud judgment. That's normal. That's why I'm here. Her words were both reassuring and intoxicating. Despite the flicker of doubt, Claire felt her pulse race, not just from fear, but from the magnetic pull of Raven's presence, calm yet commanding, teasing yet protective. Hours passed as they traced the anomaly together, unraveling the digital footprint of the real antagonist. Every discovery confirmed her fear. Someone brilliant, meticulous, ruthless, was orchestrating this erasure, and it wasn't Raven. Claire, so, you're telling me you had nothing to do with wiping my life? Raven, absolutely nothing. I was never the enemy. I'm here to make sure you survive and maybe enjoy a little chaos along the way. Claire's lips twitched, a small, ironic smile forming despite the tension. Chaos. Yes, this woman brought chaos, thrill, danger, and desire she couldn't ignore. A ping from the system drew her attention, another clue buried deep in the files, leading them closer to the mastermind. Her heart raced with fear and exhilaration, and somewhere in the storm of uncertainty, she realized the stakes weren't just her life, they were her trust and her heart. Chapter 22: Risky Moves. Claire's hands hovered over the keyboard, pulse hammering in her chest. Every command, every click felt like stepping on a knife's edge. The digital trails they had uncovered were fragile, almost hidden, but pointed toward the real culprit. Raven, we go in now. But this is risky. One wrong move and they'll know we're coming. Claire swallowed hard, nodding even though Raven couldn't see her. I'm ready. Raven, good. Confidence suits you, when it doesn't make you careless. They moved together through encrypted channels, tracing anomalies, dismantling digital traps set by the antagonist. Every fragment of stolen data they recovered was a small victory, but every success brought new hazards. Claire, they're everywhere, watching everything. Raven, exactly. That's why we have to be precise. You're doing well, faster than I expected. I like that. Claire's pulse skipped. Praise from Raven, the woman guiding her through danger with uncanny calm, was electric. It sent warmth through her veins, a thrilling mixture of fear, adrenaline, and something dangerously magnetic. Minutes stretched into hours as they navigated the labyrinth of code, dodging digital landmines, countering hidden backdoors, and marking traces left by the elusive antagonist. Every successful maneuver strengthened Claire's confidence and drew her closer to Raven. At one point, Raven leaned closer to point something out on Claire's screen, and the brush of her fingers sent a jolt of awareness straight to Claire's chest. They paused, eyes meeting in the dim glow of the monitors, tension so thick it was almost tangible. Raven, careful, don't get distracted. Claire, breathless, I'm not. But the heat in her chest betrayed her. Fear, adrenaline, and desire mingled, tangled, coiled tightly in the space between them. She realized the stakes weren't just the digital hunt. Every risky move, every close call, pulled them closer, closer in trust, closer in danger, closer in something more primal, impossible to deny. Raven, one more step, Claire, and we'll have enough to pinpoint the source. Are you ready? Claire's fingers hovered, heart racing, aware that stepping forward meant risking everything, her digital life, her safety, and maybe her heart. Chapter 23: Conflicted Heart. Claire leaned back in her chair, staring at the glow of the monitors, mind racing faster than her fingers ever could. She had survived the traps, traced anomalies, and inched closer to the antagonist. Yet her pulse wasn't only racing from fear anymore, it was Raven. Raven, you're quiet. Thinking too much. Claire's fingers twitched over the keyboard. Maybe, she admitted, her voice barely audible. Maybe I'm thinking too much, about the wrong things. Raven, wrong things. Her pulse skipped. That teasing tone, so calm, so in control, made her skin prickle. She confessed before she could stop herself. I don't know why, but I can't stop thinking about you. A pause. And then Raven's response came, slow, deliberate, dangerous, isn't it? When fear, adrenaline, and desire mix in a single space. One wrong step, and it burns you. Claire's breath hitched. Everything about Raven was danger, her brilliance, her control, her untouchable presence. And yet, Every near miss, every shared victory, every whispered instruction had pulled Claire deeper into orbit, a gravitational pull she couldn't resist. Claire, I don't know if I can separate the thrill from this. Raven, don't try. You're alive in the thrill. You're human in the desire. And right now, that's what keeps you sharp. Claire swallowed hard, heart pounding. She wanted to resist, to focus only on reclaiming her digital life. But every glance, every brush of Raven's fingers over the keyboard, every shared breath in the glow of the monitors, made resistance almost impossible. Then, ping, a new trace, a fragment from the antagonist. Claire's focus snapped back to the screen, adrenaline and fear rushing through her again. The danger was real. Immediate. Raven, see that? That's the reason we keep moving forward. Heart racing, pulse high, both from threat and temptation. Claire's lips curved in a tense smile. She realized she was falling for the hunt, for the danger, for the woman who had become her guide through chaos, her anchor in the storm, her forbidden desire. Chapter 24, closing in. The apartment was silent except for the low hum of the monitors, punctuated by rapid pings and the occasional click of keys. Claire's eyes were sharp, body tense, every sense alive. They were close, so close to the mastermind who had stolen her life. Raven, this is it. We trace here, and we'll see them. Everything they've left behind converges on this node. Are you ready? Claire nodded, breath shallow, pulse hammering. Ready. Together, they dove into the final layers of encrypted networks, stepping carefully through digital landmines. Every keystroke, every traced packet, every solved puzzle brought them closer. Then, a sudden alert flashed red on Claire's screen. A trap. Someone had anticipated their moves. Claire, Raven, it's a trap. Raven, stay calm. Follow me. Move precisely. Trust me. Claire's heart raced, fingers flying over the keys. The digital assault was immediate and brutal. Fake nodes, misleading traces, code that could erase everything if she slipped. But Raven's guidance was flawless, each instruction measured, deliberate, almost intimate in the closeness it created. Claire, breathless, I don't know how you do this. Raven, focus. You do it. I just make sure you don't burn. Hours passed like minutes. Every recovered fragment of data was a heartbeat, a step closer to the antagonist. And yet, every pause, every shared glance over the glowing monitors, every brush of Raven's hand guiding hers, sent waves of heat through Claire. Finally, the network mapped itself, the antagonist's presence isolated. Claire leaned back, trembling, exhilarated. They had done it for the moment. Raven, there. You see them? The one who erased you? This is where it starts unraveling. Claire exhaled, a mix of relief, triumph, and something unspoken between them, the tension of danger, the thrill of victory, the unacknowledged pull toward Raven. Claire, we're really close, aren't we? Raven, closer than you think. And soon, everything changes. Chapter 25, The Reveal. Claire's fingers trembled over the keyboard, pulse hammering. The antagonist's network had been isolated, every breadcrumb they'd traced converging into one unmistakable digital signature. Raven, there. That's them. The one who erased your life. Do you want to see? Claire's breath caught. She nodded, heart racing, dread and adrenaline mingling. Yes. I need to know. With a few swift commands, the masked figure appeared on the screen. Claire froze. Recognition slammed into her chest like a punch. The face wasn't just a stranger. It was Evelyn Carrington, her former business partner, her trusted friend. They had worked together on a major startup. Evelyn outwardly admired Claire, but secretly felt overshadowed and resentful. The betrayal is personal, making every digital attack sting far more than a random threat ever could. Claire, voice shaking, Evelyn, it's you? Raven, take it slow. Hear them out. Control the storm before it controls you. Evelyn's smile was cold, precise, almost rehearsed. I suppose you're surprised, Claire, she said, voice smooth and venomous. After all we built together. I just wanted to remind you how fragile everything you cling to really is. Claire's chest tightened. Betrayal stung sharper than fear. Evelyn had known her routines, her passwords, her vulnerabilities. Every erased account, every stolen file, deliberate, personal, intimate. Claire, why? Why would you do this? We worked side by side. Evelyn's gaze was calculating. You were always the star, Claire. Brilliant, independent, untouchable. I wanted to see if you could survive without it all. And, maybe, prove I could take your place. Rage, hurt, and disbelief collided in Claire's chest. Her life, her identity, her privacy, stripped away by someone she had trusted implicitly. Raven, now, she whispered, voice low, intoxicating, close enough Claire could feel it. We take back what's yours. Together. One wrong move, though, and this could get messy. Claire's pulse surged. Fear, adrenaline, and desire tangled in her veins. She realized how much she had come to depend on Raven, her brilliance, her presence, her calm in the chaos. Every near miss, every whispered instruction, every shared heartbeat at the glow of the monitors had drawn Claire closer. Working together, they struck with precision. Countermeasures, digital maneuvers, and cunning left Evelyn exposed, powerless, unraveling. Claire felt a thrill of triumph surge, not just for reclaiming her life, but for facing the ultimate personal betrayal. Claire, breathless, eyes on Raven, we did it. Raven, together. Every danger, every storm, you held your own. And that, she added, voice dropping lower, intimate, teasing, made it unforgettable. Claire's chest heated. Evelyn was defeated, but the fire between her and Raven was undeniable, dangerous, sultry, and electric. The digital storm was over, but the storm in her heart was only beginning. Chapter 26: Aftermath and Emotional Fallout. The monitors were quiet now, the digital storm finally settled. Claire leaned back, exhaustion tugging at every muscle, but the adrenaline still hummed in her veins. Evelyn was defeated, her digital empire of control dismantled, but the personal betrayal lingered like smoke in her chest. Claire, whispering to herself, I trusted her. I trusted her completely. Raven remained at her side, calm, magnetic, a presence that made the tension in Claire's chest twist in unexpected ways. Raven, it's over. For now. But the danger, the chaos, you handled it. And you did it brilliantly. Claire felt her cheeks warm. Praise from Raven was different than she expected, not just comforting, but electrifying, stirring something deep, dangerous, and intoxicating. She tried to focus on the relief, the victory, but memories of Evelyn's betrayal kept surfacing, the texts, the whispered reassurances, the late-night meetings that had now turned into lies. Anger flared, raw and sharp, mingling with a strange sense of vulnerability. Claire, I feel exposed. Not just because of Evelyn, but everything. Raven, you've been through a storm. It's natural. But remember, storms can also make you see clearly. And sometimes, they show you who matters. Claire's pulse jumped. Every word from Raven carried weight, subtle tension, an unspoken promise. She realized just how much she had come to rely on this woman, not only for survival, but for guidance, protection, and something more primal, something dangerous. They sat together in silence for a moment, fingers occasionally brushing over the keyboard as they checked final traces, but the air between them had shifted. The danger was gone, but the electricity remained, coiled and alive. Claire, I don't know how to separate all of this. Fear, adrenaline, you. Raven, don't separate. Let it be what it is. Danger, trust, desire, all in one storm. That's what keeps you alive, keeps you sharp, keeps you wanting more. Claire swallowed hard. She couldn't deny it anymore. Every near miss, every shared victory, every whispered instruction in the quiet glow of the monitors had drawn her closer. And now, in the aftermath of betrayal and triumph, she realized she wanted more danger, more thrill, more of Raven. Chapter 27: Confessions in Code. The glow of the monitors painted their faces in shades of blue and green, shadows dancing across the room. Claire sat closer than she meant to, her fingers brushing against the keyboard, brushing against Raven's, every touch a spark she couldn't ignore. Claire, I keep thinking about everything. You, the chase, the danger. I can't stop replaying it. Raven's eyes flicked up, a slow, unreadable smile tugging at her lips. Replay it? Or are you enjoying it? Claire felt heat surge through her chest. Both, she admitted, voice barely above a whisper. Every moment, I feel alive and terrified. And drawn to you. Raven, drawn, huh? The teasing in her tone was deliberate, almost a trap, and Claire felt herself falling straight into it. Yes, she breathed. I don't know why. I shouldn't, but I am. Raven leaned just enough to let Claire feel the warmth of her presence. Dangerous, isn't it? When fear, adrenaline, and desire mix. One wrong step and you're consumed. Claire swallowed hard, aware that every fiber of her body was awake, trembling, yearning. She wanted this, wanted Raven, the chaos, the thrill, the risk. And yet the line between trust and temptation blurred with every heartbeat. Claire, I don't know where one ends and the other begins. With you, it's all tangled. Raven, good. That's how it should be. The storm isn't just digital, it's emotional, visceral. That's what makes surviving us, so intoxicating. Claire's pulse raced as they returned to the screen, their fingers brushing over the keyboard in sync, the unspoken connection electric. Every line of code, every ping, every alert seemed charged with the energy between them. Raven, one more trace, one more lock, one more heartbeat, and we'll see what happens next. Claire realized she didn't want to stop the storm, the chaos, the hunt, the pull toward Raven. The danger was addictive. And the desire? Impossible to ignore. Chapter 28, Shadows Within. The glow of the monitors reflected in Claire's eyes, but they weren't just focused on the code anymore. Every shadow in the room seemed to thrum with possibility, every silence heavy with unspoken words. Evelyn's betrayal had left scars, subtle and sharp, and the aftershocks still rippled through her mind. Raven, you're tense. Don't hide it. Claire's hands stilled over the keyboard. I can't help it. Even after everything. I keep thinking someone else could be lurking, waiting. Raven, good. That awareness keeps you alive. But it doesn't have to control you. Not here, not with me. Her words were precise, soothing, and charged. Claire's breath hitched. She wanted to argue, to assert control, but the pull of Raven's calm authority was magnetic, almost intoxicating. Claire, I don't know if I can separate the danger from you. Raven leaned closer, their shoulders brushing. Why would you want to? Danger is part of this, part of us. Part of everything that keeps you awake at night. Claire's pulse raced. Every brush of Raven's hand over the keyboard, every low murmur, every shared glance, sent electricity shooting through her. The line between professional and personal, between ally and temptation, blurred until she couldn't tell where one ended and the other began. Raven, you trust me, don't you? Claire, hesitant, breathless, yes, more than I should. Raven, good. That trust is dangerous. But so are we. They worked side by side, tracing Evelyn's residual digital threads, anticipating traps, untangling lies. Every success was a thrill, every close call a heartbeat shared. And beneath it all, the tension simmered, a shadow within, whispering desire, teasing Claire with what could happen if she surrendered to it. Claire, I can't stop thinking about what happens next. About us. Raven's lips curved into a slow, knowing smile. Neither can I, mi vida. And soon, we'll see if the storm can survive outside the screen. Chapter 29, The Edge of Temptation. The room was dim, lit only by the glow of multiple screens, their reflections shimmering in Claire's wide, tense eyes. Every alert, every ping, every movement in the code was a reminder that danger still lingered, but her focus kept slipping, magnetized by Raven's presence. Raven, you're distracted. Claire swallowed, heat rising to her cheeks. I'm not distracted. Raven, voice low, teasing, yes, you are. And I know exactly why. A shiver ran down Claire's spine. The teasing edge in Raven's tone was deliberate, daring, impossible to ignore. She shifted closer, their shoulders brushing. The brush of Raven's sleeve against her arm sent a thrill through her she didn't want to name. Claire, breathless, I can't help it. Every time I look at you, Raven, every time you look at me, you feel it. I know. I feel it too. Their fingers met briefly over the keyboard, and the electricity was undeniable. Claire's pulse surged, every nerve alight with tension, desire, and the thrill of danger. She wanted to pull back, stay professional, stay safe, but part of her wanted the storm that Raven offered, the forbidden, intoxicating pull. Raven, careful, Claire. The edge is closer than you think. One step, and there's no turning back. Claire's lips parted, breath catching. Maybe I don't want to turn back. Raven leaned slightly closer, close enough that Claire could feel her warmth, the subtle scent of something sharp and intoxicating. Then step forward. If you dare. But remember, danger isn't just digital. It's personal. And right now, it's deliciously real. A ping cut through the tension, a reminder of Evelyn's lingering influence, an unresolved trace in the digital maze. But Claire barely noticed. Every heartbeat, every stolen glance, every charged brush of skin against skin had her teetering on the brink. Claire, whispering, I don't know how to stay focused. Not with you here. Raven, smirking, voice low, then don't fight it. The storm, the danger, the pull between us, it's all part of surviving. Part of living. Part of feeling alive. Chapter 30, Crossing Lines. The hum of the servers was background music to the storm raging in Claire's chest. Every glance at Raven, every brush of fingers over the keyboard, sent sparks shooting through her veins. The digital chase had sharpened her senses, but this was different. Raven, Claire, you're holding back. Claire, I can't. Her voice trembled, a mixture of defiance and desire. I shouldn't. Not here, not now. Raven stepped closer, close enough that Claire felt the warmth of her body, the steady, controlled presence that made everything else blur. Then stop thinking. Let it happen. Let the storm take you. The line between danger and temptation, trust and surrender, dissolved. Claire's hands met Raven's over the keyboard, lingering longer than necessary, every touch electric. She swallowed, heart hammering. Claire, whispering, I don't know if I can separate fear from desire. Raven, then don't. That's the point. Danger and desire aren't enemies, they're fuel. One step. One movement closer, and Claire could feel Raven's pulse against her own, the proximity intoxicating, dizzying. Every instinct screamed to pull back, to stay safe, but every nerve burned with the craving she could no longer deny. They paused, faces inches apart, breaths mingling, hearts racing. The world outside, Evelyn, the digital chaos, the remnants of betrayal, faded into shadows. It was just them, the storm of desire, the risk, the pull too strong to resist. Raven, voice low, teasing, commanding, you trust me, don't you? Claire, breathless, trembling, yes, more than I should. But I can't stop myself. Raven's smile was slow, knowing, deliberate. Good. That's how it's supposed to feel. Risk, thrill, desire, all in one perfect storm. Their lips brushed, a spark, a promise. The first line crossed in a dance of temptation and surrender. Every warning, every heartbeat, every shiver between them whispered of storms yet to come, both digital and personal, dangerous and thrilling, intimate and consuming. Chapter 31, Vulnerable Currents. The monitor's glow was softer now, casting long shadows across the room. The hum of servers had become a lullaby, punctuated by the faint ping of notifications, reminders that the digital world still demanded attention. Claire sat back, fingers lightly brushing the keyboard, but her mind wasn't on the code. Raven's presence lingered like a current under her skin, warm, electrifying, inescapable. Claire, softly, I never thought I'd feel this way, with someone like you. Dangerous, untouchable, and somehow so steady. Raven's eyes softened, the teasing edge replaced with an intensity that made Claire's chest tighten. You've been through storms before. This one's different, you let me in, and that's never easy. But it's necessary, for trust, for survival, and for us. Claire swallowed, letting the words settle, her mind racing with the vulnerability she hadn't allowed herself to feel in years. Evelyn's betrayal still stung, but with Raven, she felt anchored, even amidst lingering chaos. Claire, I'm scared that if I trust too much, I'll get hurt again. But with you, I feel like I could survive anything. Raven, good. That's exactly what I wanted you to feel. Trust isn't weakness, Claire. It's power. And together, we're unstoppable. A faint smile tugged at Claire's lips. The tension of fear and desire, betrayal and trust, danger and intimacy all swirled inside her, a current she no longer wanted to resist. They returned to their screens, working in silence, yet every brush of skin, every shared glance, every subtle movement carried unspoken messages. Connection, desire, and trust wove together like code, intricate, deliberate, and unbreakable. Claire, whispering, almost to herself, I don't know how I survived this storm before you. Raven, softly, voice low and intimate, you didn't. You almost didn't. But now, you have me. And I'll be here, every step, every danger, every heartbeat. Chapter 32, Web of Secrets. The glow of the monitors cast sharp angles across the room, illuminating not only lines of code, but the tension lingering between Claire and Raven. Victory over Evelyn had been intoxicating, but Claire sensed threads of deception still woven through her life, threads only Raven could help untangle. Claire, I keep finding anomalies. Little gaps, strange alerts, like someone left breadcrumbs on purpose. Raven, not all ghosts are gone. Evelyn's shadow lingers. And there may be others who'd like to see you fall. That's why we keep moving, keep searching, keep trusting only ourselves and each other. Claire shivered at Raven's words, aware of the dangerous intimacy in her tone. Every glance, every brush of fingers over the keyboard, every low murmur drew her in further, even as her instincts screamed caution. They traced patterns through encrypted channels, piecing together anomalies, discovering secrets that were never meant to be found. Each revelation brought adrenaline, frustration, and awe, and a subtle, undeniable heat between them. Claire, I feel like I'm seeing the world and myself in a way I never have. And, with you here, it's impossible to think straight. Raven's eyes softened, dangerous and tender all at once. Good. Chaos is clarity, Claire. Trust the process. And trust me. The webs we weave can save us or consume us. But I promise I won't let you fall. Every revelation brought them closer. Each secret uncovered a silent bond forming. And even as the shadows of Evelyn's legacy threatened to creep back into Claire's life, she realized something terrifying and exhilarating. The storm was no longer hers alone. Raven was entwined with it, with her, and the pull between them was unrelenting. Claire, breathless, I don't know where danger ends and you, begins. Raven, voice low, intimate, teasing, then don't separate them. Let the storm consume you. Let me in. Let this, us, be unstoppable. Chapter 33, Tangled Loyalties. The glow from the monitors painted their faces in shades of cobalt and green, a digital battlefield stretching across multiple screens. Every anomaly, every alert, every encrypted message whispered of unseen players, allies or enemies. Claire couldn't tell. Claire, I don't know who to trust anymore. Even after Evelyn. Raven, trust is earned, not given. And it's fragile. But it's also the only thing that keeps you alive in this mess. Claire's hands hovered over the keyboard. New alert. Raven, then start with me. Let me prove that trust is possible. That we're not just surviving the storm, we're controlling it. Together. A ping echoed from the monitors, a stark reminder that Evelyn's reach still lingered. Claire's fingers flew over the keyboard, heart racing, adrenaline surging. Every line of code, every trace uncovered, was a battle fought in the digital shadows, and every shared glance, every accidental touch with Raven, was a war of a different kind. Claire, breathless, every time I think I understand this chaos, it changes. But with you, it feels like we could handle anything. Raven, voice low, intimate, exactly. Danger, desire, trust, they coexist. And that's the beauty of it. The storm is ours, Claire. All of it. If we dare to take it. Their hands brushed over the keyboard again, lingering longer than necessary. The thrill of discovery, the rush of adrenaline, and the pull of desire coiled around them like a living thing. For a moment, the world beyond the monitors, Evelyn, the digital threats, the uncertainty faded. Chapter 36, Lines Blurred. The apartment felt smaller tonight, every shadow cast by the monitors heavy with electricity. Claire's focus was split on the code, on the alerts, on Raven. Every movement, every glance, every subtle brush of fingers carried weight. Claire, voice tight, anxious, I can't tell if I'm chasing answers or chasing you. Raven's lips curved into that slow, knowing smile that made her pulse spike. Why not both? Danger and desire, curiosity and lust, they're all part of the same storm. You can't untangle one from the other. The line between work and personal had blurred long ago. Every trace of Evelyn's remaining network demanded attention, yet every interaction with Raven pulled Claire into something far more consuming. Claire, I shouldn't feel this. Drawn. It's reckless. Dangerous. Raven, exactly. And that's why it's irresistible. They leaned over the same screen, fingers brushing, eyes locked. The thrill of shared danger intertwined with desire, electric and undeniable. Claire's heart raced, both from fear of the unknown and the magnetic pull toward Raven. Claire, whispering, I can't stop thinking about what happens if we cross every line. Raven, then don't stop. Every line we cross, every boundary we challenge, brings us closer to something inevitable. Trust the storm, Claire. Trust us. A ping cut through the tension, a reminder that Evelyn's reach, though diminished, was still dangerous. Yet for once, Claire didn't flinch. With Raven beside her, the storm wasn't just chaos. It was power, intensity, and a path to reclaiming not just her digital life, but the control she had lost. Claire, softly, breathless, you make chaos feel alive. Like it's ours. Raven, voice low, teasing, intimate, it is ours. But only if we dare to step into it together. Chapter 37, Crossing Thresholds. The hum of the servers was a constant, comforting pulse, but tonight, every vibration seemed to resonate with Claire's own heartbeat. Danger was near, Evelyn's remnants still lurking, but there was a new edge to the air, a recklessness she had never felt before, fueled by proximity, trust, and desire. Claire, voice low, tense, I don't know if we're ready for what comes next. Everything feels too exposed. Raven's gaze was sharp, unwavering, yet soft at the edges, the contradiction that had been pulling Claire in since their first contact. We're never truly ready. But thresholds aren't about readiness. They're about daring to step forward. Together. Claire's fingers hovered over the keyboard, then brushed against Raven's in an almost accidental gesture. Sparks of electricity surged between them, subtle but undeniable. Claire, breathless, every time I'm near you, I feel something. Dangerous, consuming, impossible to ignore. Raven, smirking, voice low, intimate, then don't resist it. That fire? That pull? That's the threshold. Cross it, and you'll never want to go back. The mission demanded focus, yet every glance, every fleeting touch, every shared breath blurred the boundaries. Claire realized the truth. Stepping past this threshold wasn't just about the digital world. It was about surrendering to trust, desire, and a storm that neither of them could fully control. Claire, I don't know if I can, if I should. Raven, then stop thinking. Step. Feel. Survive. Desire. Trust. Everything converges here now. And so they crossed it. Not just a boundary in the digital battlefield, but a boundary in themselves. Eyes locked, hands intertwined over the keyboard, they moved forward, daring, vulnerable, and alive. Chapter 38, Unseen Forces. The monitors flickered, each alert sharper than the last. Claire's pulse quickened, not just from the chaos unfolding on the screens, but from the knowledge that unseen hands were manipulating events from the shadows. Claire, voice tight, anxious, something's moving again. Subtle, but deliberate. Someone doesn't want us to succeed. Raven's eyes narrowed, calculating. Not just someone. Multiple players, Claire. Evelyn's network wasn't alone. There are forces we haven't accounted for. And they're watching every move we make. Claire swallowed hard, aware of the rising tension in the room, a mix of fear, adrenaline, and that undeniable pull toward Raven. The danger felt immediate, yet strangely grounding, anchoring her in the moment. Claire, I thought we'd seen the worst, but this feels bigger. More dangerous. Raven, exactly. And that's why we stick together. Every shadow, every code, every whisper, we face it as one. No hesitation. No second guessing. They worked in tandem, fingers flying across keyboards, eyes meeting over lines of code, hearts pounding. Every touch, every shared glance, every murmur of encouragement drew them closer, binding trust and desire in a way neither had anticipated. Claire, breathless, almost a whisper, I don't know how I'd survive this without you. Raven, voice low, teasing yet fierce, you don't have to. And you won't. That's the difference now. Whatever's out there, we face it together. Storm and all. A final alert pinged, revealing the first trace of the new, unseen force. A shadow within the digital chaos and a challenge they had to confront immediately. Claire's adrenaline spiked, but this time, it was tempered with confidence. Raven was there, a storm in herself, and together they felt unstoppable. Chapter 39, The Final Firewall. The apartment was alive with tension, monitors flashing, alerts chiming, lines of code streaming like a digital waterfall. Claire's fingers moved faster than thought, guided by instinct, adrenaline, and the rhythm she and Raven had forged together. Claire, breathless, urgent, this is it. The core. The final barrier. If we don't break it now, everything we've fought for is gone. Raven's eyes met hers, sharp and unwavering, yet softened with unspoken promise. We break it. Together. Every firewall, every ghost, every shadow, we face it. Side by side. No hesitation. The room seemed to shrink around them as the digital and emotional storm intensified. Every keystroke, every shared glance, every subtle touch charged the air with electricity. They were no longer just hacker and victim. They were partners, allies, and something far more intoxicating. Claire, I trust you. Completely. But if we fail, Raven, voice low, intimate, fierce, then we rise again. And if we succeed, we do it together. You and me. Every risk, every storm, every heartbeat. They dove into the final layers of code, navigating traps, riddles, and hidden dangers left by Evelyn and the unseen forces. Sweat beaded on Claire's brow, heart pounding not just from adrenaline, but from the nearness of Raven, every movement, every brush of skin, every whispered instruction a thrill and a reassurance. And then, breakthrough. The final firewall crumbled under their combined skill and focus. The digital chaos dissolved, replaced by victory, and a quiet, electric stillness settled over the room. Claire, exhaling, trembling, we did it. It's over. Raven's soft smile, hand brushing hers, no. It's never over. But right now, we're unstoppable. Together. Their faces drew close, breaths mingling. The danger, the adrenaline, the desire, all fused into a single moment of intimacy and triumph. Outside, the world remained unpredictable, chaotic, and dangerous, but here, in this storm they had weathered, they found clarity, trust, and a pulse of something far more intoxicating than fear, connection. Chapter 40, After the Storm. The room was quiet now. Monitors dimmed to soft glows, servers hummed a steady rhythm, and the chaos of the digital battlefield had receded. Claire leaned back in her chair, breath coming in long, unsteady waves. Claire, softly, to herself, it's finally over. Or at least, it feels like it. Raven appeared at her side, hand brushing hers in a familiar, electrifying gesture. No words were needed, the silence spoke volumes, filled with shared victory, trust, and a simmering heat that neither could ignore. Raven, you did it. We did it. And somehow, you made it through without losing yourself. Claire smiled, a mixture of relief, exhaustion, and desire curling across her lips. I couldn't have done it without you. Not the code, not the chaos, and certainly not this. Her words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Raven's fingers intertwined with hers, a subtle assertion of closeness, of partnership, of something deeper than either had dared to name. Raven, low, intimate, this storm. It changes everything. You, me, us. And it's only the beginning. Trust me, Claire. There's more waiting, more danger, more discovery, more moments like this. Claire's pulse quickened, the thrill of victory mingling with the rush of desire. She leaned closer, eyes locking with Raven's, the world outside fading into irrelevance. Claire, soft whisper, then let's face it, together. Raven, smile, teasing, sultry, together. Always. Outside, the digital world continued to spin, unpredictable, chaotic, dangerous. But inside, amidst dim glows and quiet hums, Claire and Raven shared a fragile, intoxicating peace. A storm had passed, but the currents of trust, desire, and connection would carry them forward into battles, revelations, and pleasures yet unknown. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe and like this video and follow me for more stories. You are always welcome here, and leave me a comment or a thumbs up, just letting me know if you like the story and would like more, or is there perhaps an idea that you would like to share or let me write for you.